We're covering Milan Fashion Week, my theory on comfycore, and I have a big cup of tea coming up on today's episode of Pure Fashion. First up, birthdays. So we have Donna Karen, also known as DK, creator of DKNY, who celebrated her birthday on the 2nd of October. So she grew up in a fashion household. Her mom was a model and her dad was a suit tailor. So from a young age, she was already impressing people with her great taste in fashion. So congratulations, Donna. Yoji Yamamoto, not to be confused with Yogi. He is known for his avant-garde kind of tailoring, but with these Japanese aesthetics. Happy birthday! Okay, so let's move on to coffee and couture with Milan Fashion Week, which I enjoyed a lot more thoroughly than the previous fashion week that we just had, which shall not be named. In this fashion week, you could really see that white was the color of spring-summer 2025 coming up. So we tend to think that white gets dirtier quicker, but actually you can see the dirt quicker because it's white. So we can think of that as when God purifies us and removes sin from us. You can see when something is not right more quickly because we're not in darkness anymore. We have been purified. So all the impurities kind of rise to the surface. It allows us to bring all our dirt to God and have Him remove those impurities. So the colors that we keep seeing in these fashion shows, except for London, which loved black, the colors that we keep seeing are these whites with neutrals and these pops of color, which are the burnt orange, neon yellow, this dark blue, and this powder blue mixed with brown. We even saw this kind of coloring in Gucci's color setting. So their entry looked so nice. It looked like a very polished red that the models were walking on in this white room. And then it eventually got into the yellow and then, darker colors and red and everything. I didn't realize that it was supposed to depict a sunset until someone described it as such. I just thought it looked really cool because it does. Another thing that keeps coming up are bathrobes, comfycore. So my theory on comfycore is that it started with the youth after the pandemic, and actually in the middle of the pandemic, we saw them wearing these sweaters in the middle of summer. And when you're in Florida, that means a lot. So I could see that they were drawing to comfort and protection. And now that's something that's kind of trending everywhere else with us. There's a big draw towards mental wellness and self-love, which is a good thing. In October is Mental Wellness Month, right? So I am glad that we are talking so much more about this. It's so much better. It's what we need in order to also treat each other with the love and respect that we need to. So I am very happy about that. And that's my theory on comfycore and how it started and why it is in place right now. We've just been through so much. Why not? Why not be comfortable? Why not treat ourselves well? My theory. There's no comfycore though like God's peace and knowing that you are in His will and wrapped up in His love and in His joy. That's the best comfycore. So if you want to use that as your way of sharing the gospel with someone, maybe you see someone in comfycore, maybe someone asks you, hey, why are you in a bathrobe in the middle of a park? You can say, hey, let me tell you about God's comfycore. So let's get on to the fashion shows. So Alberta Ferretti, as soon as these dresses came out, it was just this breathy kind of feel that said spring and summer, really relaxed, but also elegant and refined. So she actually just announced on the 27th of September that she's stepping down as creative director for her brand, and she's going to name a successor to take her place. But this was a great last show, if it's a last show for her. Moschino's show was interesting because the first looks that came out, it looked like, those little girls that wake up in the middle of the night, dazed and confused, wanting water. That's what it looked like. But it had some nice things, like this care top. I think that would be a good seller, as well as this happy top that somehow still looks masculine. Roberto Cavalli. So his clothes, you could see it already that his theme was the beach. And then you could actually see a sunset on his clothes a lot. But you could just look at it and be like, oh, that reminds me of the water. And then towards the end, that looks like a sea urchin. That looks like coral. So it was just some very nice looks that I'm like, ooh, I want to do that. I want to wear that somehow, some way. Bottega Veneta had some interesting looks. This little white dress, for example. Let's have that. Let's have a little white dress instead of the little black dress. I thought it was really cute. And then this fringe head, which I think it can be downplayed so that you can wear it somewhere as long as you downplay it like a lot. Like this girl has like a fringe afro, but you could downplay it. I think it could still work. The Todd fashion show, he had some really nice looks. I loved it because it had a lot of leather. Like, look at this leather trench coat. And then these slinky leather pants. This is design, right? And these bags are super cute. Okay, so the iceberg fashion show was pretty colorful. So I'm going to take advantage and teach you guys how to wear colors. Do you know what colors you can wear? What colors look best on you? My shortcut to know what your best color is to hold it up to your teeth. If it makes your teeth look whiter, that means that's a great color for you to wear. But if it makes your teeth look yellower or dingier or something, it's not a good color for you, at least not to wear around your face. You can wear it like maybe in your shoes or your accessories, but I believe that everyone can wear the color that they want as long as it's in the right shade, the right tone. So one way to know about color combinations though is to look at your own natural combination. Like my skin is pretty light and I have very dark hair. So I have a high contrast already. If I had the same skin color, but my natural hair was blonde, that would be a low contrast. So I would want to wear low contrast clothes. This is what they do in the scary movies. They use the color black or these strong colors to wash out the coloring in someone. But when you wear the right colors, you will have a healthy glow. You won't look tired, you won't look sick. Unless you are, of course. But you will look healthy and lively, alive and happy. Happy. So wearing the right colors is very important. There are some who have a light contrast, like light skin with light hair or dark skin with dark hair. And there's some who have a medium contrast and they wear a whole other set kind of colors and combinations. And then there's some people who have a high contrast like me, and they are able to wear a lot more bold colors and high contrast things. So it's interesting to match up and make sure to go by your natural hair color. Speaking of hair, check out this hair at the Hermes fashion show. I want to do this like ASAP. Please. I'm probably gonna get my prima Fanny to come and do my hair and do this look on me because I love it. Okay, so while watching these fashion shows, I actually noticed some things that distract from shows because the whole point of fashion shows is supposed to be the fashion. It's supposed to be the clothes that the models are wearing. So that's why usually they use like these templates of everything, right? All right, so I'm going to call this Good Things Gone Bad. Thank you, Nady. At the Fendi show, let's start with probably the most obvious right now, nuptials, if you know what I mean. So they were covered head to toe. That's a good thing. Gone bad, it was see-through. So you could see everything that her mama gave her. So that's one thing. That's a distraction from the actual clothes. Why don't you just wear undergarments? Why don't you just wear stuff to protect the goods that you have? Nuptials, that's the number one. They were all playing chaotic. It was just a hot mess. I would have walked out. I wouldn't have even been able to see the show anymore. So that's number two, the setting that you're in. Number three, at the Sunny show, they actually used people, like modern people, not models, to model their clothes. That sounds like a good thing, right? Except they were so normal looking, I guess, that you were looking more at the models than at the actual clothes. However, the clothes were not much to speak of, so maybe that was needed. So I'll give that to them. Okay, now for the news, I have a big cup of tea coming up. But first, I want to piggyback on something from last week's episode that talked about fast fashion. And we know that a lot of this fast fashion comes from China, right? But with this, China is investigating us, specifically brands like Tommy Hilfiger and Calvin Klein. China is saying, hey, you are specifically boycotting this certain region for no reason. That's what China says, right? However, this region is known for their bad practices, their poor environments for their workers. So that's why they're not being used. And China's like, nuh-uh. So because of these investigations, Calvin Klein and Tommy Hilfiger are in danger of being added to a list of brands that China will not do business with. Is that really a bad thing? I don't know. Online spending is expected to go up back to levels back in 2021, up 8% this season, which I can totally see, especially because, as we heard last week, that there's going to be a lot less attendance at the actual stores. So happy shopping. Another big thing for the holidays is donations. So this is the big cup of tea. There has been someone who has been running this charity, this organization, taking donations and actually using the donations for themselves with luxurious resorts and spas and giving money to a certain confidant that they have is just really bad. For 10 years, this person has been doing this, and finally a watchdog investigation found that person out. This is such a big cup of tea that I am not going to say who it is, but just make sure that you know who you're investing your money to. Hundreds of thousands of dollars have been recovered for these charities that the money was supposed to be going to. Thank God. That person has been suspended from being the chairman of that organization for 5 years. I think it should be a lot more. I think they were very lenient with that person, who shall not be named. Okay, so the topic of today is a video post about my day. So that's coming up here. A day in the life of me. Yep, I live pretty close to the airport, so that was an airplane. Good morning to my parents. And now I am starting to work. That's my coworker, Leon. He is also a carnivore, so am I. He loves his food. Look how excited he is. Yeah, that is raw beef. And he eats it completely right up. Leon is the best. He's about 9 years old. Here we're starting the day with a prayer meeting. So it's pretty awesome working for a Christian company that we can do this. And then my sisters keep in contact and one of us got a good haircut. So that was the meme set. I like to do a neural cycle every day. This is amazing from Dr. Caroline Leaf. And it has been life-changing for me. So I highly recommend it. Very good for inner healing. Leon gets so excited when I'm done with the workday. He pretty much takes over and he gets so full of joy. And here I am watching some runways preparing for the next episode with my mom. Paris Fashion Week coming up next week. At night, my uncle came from out of state to visit, and that's a day in my life. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Pure Fashion and hope you comment, like, subscribe, share, and let me know any feedback that you have. All right, stay lovely. Bye. Eat to your heart's content. But when you bring our la 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 la. Yoji Yama. What? What was I saying?